Hi, everyone, and welcome to Open Class episodes in which we answer questions from the community. And today, I'm very excited to have Coach Brittany with us. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
For those of you who don't know Brittany, she was a guest on the channel a while back talking about her own recovery story, and she's gone through our program, and she graduated as a coach recently, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, before we get into the questions, I just wanted to share something that I'm really happy about, which is that you've decided to specialize, to niche down and help moms or women becoming moms who have trouble with sleeping, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping to help moms in pregnant, postpartum, or maybe a little more veteran moms that are just having a little more trouble sleeping. Because I know there's a lot of people that are like in that specific category that are really struggling and can use some specific help.
Absolutely. And what made you decide to go in this direction?
Just my own experiences. After I had my first baby, that's when my insomnia really started. It was pretty much right after I had her, and then at the 2-week appointment, my midwife told me that when I, started complaining, I'm not sleeping. Why am I not sleeping? They told me, well, you need to be sleeping. It's good, for you, and it's going to be good for your baby even to be sleeping. So that's kind of what triggered it to really kind of escalate. And then, just continued to get worse for many months. But yeah, so I just, I know there's like specific, problems that moms face in particular. And so I think I can help them after all the learning and just all the stuff that I've learned and the changes that I was able to make to be able to sleep well again.
Absolutely. And you've already worked with like your first client, right?
Yeah. So I've been coaching a mom already, and it's been really fun just to, be able to help someone, and to know that I was in those shoes before, and so I can kind of emphasize too. So it's just been fun to help someone, even though they're not they're struggling, but I feel like it's just something that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah. So nice to hear this. And so yes, before we go to open class and answer questions, anyone who would like to get in touch with Brittany, see what she's up to, follow her content, or even work with Brittany, head over to Instagram, and you can find her at Mama Sleep Coach. So that is again, everyone who wants to connect with Brittany. And with that said, let us answer some questions together. First, there was first one that I think I'll just answer real quickly myself, and then there were some ones that we can answer together. First one is from Sneha, who says, "Hi Daniel, some people experience seizures when they go 3 nights without sleep. Is that possible?" I just want to say nothing here is medical advice, but if someone has a seizure disorder, somebody has epilepsy, then my understanding is that any type of stress can really provoke like a seizure, and that could be like emotional stress or a health stress like an infection or having been sleep deprived. Yeah, I think that's possible. But if someone doesn't have that, then it's not like being awake for a long time will make you have a seizure disorder or anything like that. So that's those are my thoughts on that, Sneha. Thanks for sending the question. And then we have a message from Dorothy, and she writes the following. "Hi, Doc. Good day. I just want to ask you for some help. I am from the Philippines, and I'm a mom of 2. 2 months after stopping my antidepressant and antipsychotic prescribed by my psychiatrist because I was suffering from insomnia, I am suffering from rebound insomnia. I cannot sleep. Please help me. Can I sleep normally? I do not want to take meds again because of so many withdrawal symptoms I experienced. If I only found you before the meds." So yeah, Dorothy here. Had insomnia for some reason, was prescribed medications, doesn't want to take them, actually came off of them, and now has more trouble sleeping. So, and wonders if she can ever sleep again. What are your thoughts when you hear this?
I think that can be pretty common if you've been on medication, and then after you stop the medication, that you might have trouble sleeping again. And often we want to blame, it's because I'm not taking the medication. But it actually can be helpful just to work on your thoughts, and just being a little more aware of, how sleep happens, that it's more passive, and that medication doesn't make you sleep. It just helps you be okay with being in bed, and it helps take away that anxiety. But you're the one that makes you sleep. Yeah, and I think just being a little bit more kinder to yourself when it comes to medications. So I know there can be some judgment that happens and some self criticism. So whether you're taking them or not, that might be helpful as well.
Exactly. And just to point out for everyone that there can be some this friction from thinking like I shouldn't take medications, but I don't sleep, so I want to take them, and then you're like, what should I do? And that either you can not take them and just go the route of education and see that you'll do well, or you can take them and not judge yourself for taking them. Either one is fine. And absolutely, Dorothy, like anyone who's willing to do a little work, a little education will do really well. So yeah, I think that concludes this one, Dorothy. Hope that made sense, and let us know how you go and stay in touch. And we will continue with, let me share the screen. A message from Ayesha, who says, I'm desperate. I didn't sleep for 3 months now. My eyes and brain feel like stone. Please help. I just want to say, Ayesha, you'll find a lot of people who can relate here in this community, and just go to the playlists and check out the This Is Nato playlist, the Success Stories playlist, and just start this process of understanding what's happening. And that will take you from this place of being kind of in awe, bewildered, scared, to like having more foundation and understanding more. That's going to be really helpful for someone in your situation. So hang in there, learn a little bit, and things will get easier. Okay, let's continue to this message from Jonathan. Jonathan says, Dear Daniel, I've been dealing with insomnia since the new year started, and it's completely taken over my life. I found your channel quickly, thankfully, and while your content has been crucial in helping me gain the knowledge needed to understand my condition, I still have fears that my insomnia is something altogether worse than the kind of insomnia you talk about curing. I mean, this as in I get almost 0 hours of sleep 3 nights a week. And I recently had a stretch where I was up for 60 plus hours. Have you ever seen insomnia this crippling before be corrected? It's a simple question, I know, but I listened to your program testimonials, and it seems like everyone who goes on was getting more sleep than I get currently at their worst periods. And this has left me feeling hopeless at the moment. Thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan, thanks for sending this, of course. And yeah, Brittany, what are your thoughts when you hear this?
I think for many of us that have gone through it, it's really common to feel like, I'm the only one that's been through this particular circumstance. Like no one else has gone, 4 days without sleeping, or, whatever your particular, what you're going through, which, you said 60 hours. I mean, that does sound like a lot, but I know there's a lot of other people that have had similar experiences. And it could be helpful to know your situation actually isn't unusual. And there's so many other people that have been through it. And the funny thing is, like, a lot of us, like, I remember when I was going through it myself, I'm like, I'm not sleeping at all. Like, I would go like multiple nights and yeah, I haven't slept at all. But I think our brains kind of trick us. And I think I actually did sleep. It was just like micro sleeps, like, but I was like so hyper aroused that like I didn't think I was sleeping. So that can be helpful to know too, that even though it feels like you're not sleeping, you might still be getting some rest, and your brain might still be sleeping these small tiny amounts. But yeah, just knowing you're not unusual, that and having that education on top of that, I think that both of those can be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Like I always often forget to mention that when we experience like not sleeping at all for long periods of time, really there is micro sleep in there that we aren't aware of. And that said, like we also don't want to be in a place where we try to convince ourselves, like, you never want to be in a place with your client where you're like, you sleep a little bit, and then your client's like, no, I don't. Yes, you do. You don't. No, we don't. If you do, if you experience, like, if you're sure that you didn't sleep at all, you don't need to, kind of argue with that if that's your experience. But more importantly, like what Brittany said here, yeah, I think I don't hear anything that's unusual here, Jonathan, even though it's very intense. And actually, there's a specific episode that came to mind. It was Talking Insomnia number 66 with Andreas. It sounds very familiar. So if you listen to his story, I think you'll find a lot of parallels and things like that. And I guess the final thing I want to add here is that it can be helpful to understand like why our brains is always telling us like this is a unique, this is something that nobody else has. It's because like our brain is this like survival machine, and it doesn't want us to miss anything. And so if we start thinking like, oh, maybe my case isn't that, it's not strange or unusual, then the brain goes like, what if it is? What if you're missing something? What if by thinking that you're not strange, you're missing this thing that could have been the thing? Like our brain wants us to think it's strange or unusual. It's kind of designed to do that. So often when we know this and the brain thinks like, nobody's had this before, this is completely strange, unusual, then we can be like, I know what you're up to, brain. You're wanting me to think that because you want me to kind of like find the thing that's gonna like be the magic cure. But just awareness of all this can really, really help, Jonathan. So hope this makes sense, and let us know how things go. Be in touch. Okay, let's go to our next message. I think this is the last one, actually. This is from Jocelyn, who says, hi, Daniel. Not sure if you remember me, but I was struggling a lot with insomnia last year. I learned a lot from your channel and also did your bedtime app for about 2 months. I do remember working with you. My sleep was getting better, very on and off. I would go maybe 2 weeks of sleeping well, and then another week of not sleeping well, and then 2 weeks of sleeping well, etc. Something happened a few weeks ago, and I started waking up early again and not being able to fall back into deep sleep. I'm pretty much in light sleep for the second half of the night. This was actually my original problem last year. It's been almost 3 weeks of consecutive insomnia, and I finally decided to ask you for advice. I told myself that it's temporary and I should just let it be and not think about it. I thought I was done with insomnia and now it's back. Haha. Please help with any advice and knowledge. Thank you so much. Best, Jocelyn. So I have several things I want to share on this topic, but first of all, Brittany, like, what do you think when you hear this?
I think that this is something that a lot of people do go through, where you have like you're doing well, and then you start to have like a speed bump, and it kind of throws you out of a loop. You're like, wait a second, I thought I was over this. Just continuing like to focus on the acceptance and the letting go. And you mentioned that that's kind of what you're working on, so that's awesome that you're doing exactly what you should be doing. And I did hear you say something about trying not to think about it, which that can actually be kind of hard to do, because we can't really force ourselves to not think about something. Because if I tell you don't think about a blue bunny, I mean, you probably just thought about a blue bunny. So just being okay with whatever thoughts that do come to your mind, during those early wakings, I think that might be helpful too. You might have some more anxious thoughts when you wake up, whatever they might be. I think just allowing yourself to think them, and then being accepting of whatever you do think, and just letting yourself feel that, whatever that thought, whatever emotion that thought gives you, that might be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always so helpful what you just said there, Brittany. And before I forget, I want to say to Jocelyn that this is very, very common. The situation where you found the channel, or you work with me, or working with a coach, and things are getting easier, and then you have trouble in this, and it can feel like, oh my gosh, I'm back to square one. Why is this happening? In reality, it's just a little misunderstanding. It's just that it's, in retrospect, it can seem like I had it under control, and that's why I slept better. But it's actually the opposite. It was because you were letting go of control that I was sleeping better. And now there's kind of this idea that I need to get control again. That is a little confusing. But the first thing I want to say is actually that we have a whole playlist called Speed Bumps. We have a Speed Bumps playlist where I think really, really go to that playlist. It's in the, there's a link to it in the description of any new video, and you'll hear a lot that will be really, really helpful there. And so, the first thought that came to mind was this one, that when we are doing better and then we have more struggle, it can seem like we had achieved something, but in reality, it was the opposite. We let go, and that led us to a more peaceful place. And I guess the second thing to add here is that these speed bumps, they aren't pleasant. They're annoying, and and we don't want to have them, but they teach us so much. First of all, they can teach us what I just talked about, and then they can also teach us that they always end. Like, you're doing better, then you have some struggle again, and then after that you get back to a place where your things are easier, and then you see that, oh, I was safe all along, nothing happened, I wasn't harmed. There's no real danger here. And every time you get kind of past that speed bump, it teaches the brain that there is no real danger, and the speed bumps happen less and less, and things get more and more peaceful. Those are my thoughts, some thoughts there. But does that make sense, Brittany?
Oh yeah, definitely. I 100% agree, and I know that's how I had to go through the process as well, where I had to, realize that this is normal, and just be okay with knowing that this is normal, but it's not permanent; it's temporary.
100%. And let's see. I felt there was maybe something more to add. I'm gonna go back to this message from Jocelyn. Oh yeah, I know that one was something I wanted to ask with. Talk about, comment on. Oh yeah. So we see here, Brittany, Jocelyn said, it's been almost 3 weeks of consecutive insomnia, and I finally decided to ask you for advice. I told myself it's temporary, I should just let it be and not think about it anymore. My point here is sort of what you just said, Brittany, that this kind of resistance, that when we're, I shouldn't have this thought, I shouldn't think about the blue bunny, then it makes us think more about it. And so I can sense that, Jocelyn, you probably had a little trouble sleeping, and then you were like, but I'm not going to do anything. I can't do anything. I'm not going to ask Daniel. I'm not going to ask Insomnia. And then that's sort of a way of resisting. So I think when this starts happening, you have some more struggle sleeping again after doing well, instead of being like, okay, I'm not going to do anything because like, if the intent of like not reaching out, not asking a question is that sort of ignoring it, like pretending it's not happening, then it is a way of like not acknowledging the reality in a way. So I think if we instead go towards like, yeah, I'm having some more trouble sleeping now, and it's totally okay to ask a question right away if I feel like it. I don't have to like forcefully ignore it, I think it's different when we like, I don't have to do anything because it's okay that I have some trouble sleeping. That's a nice path. But rather than, I have to ignore this because if I give it any attention, then I'm gonna have more trouble. That's a little more tricky. So I don't know. I feel like am I making sense? Did that make sense, Brittany?
Yeah, I think so. I think just being able to like, realize that, this issue, that it's okay if I, work on it, and it's okay to, ask for advice, because often the more we ignore something, especially like something that we really struggle with, the more it starts talking louder and louder. So it can be helpful to just to face it head on right away.
Exactly. And I think that what's so confusing for clients, and what makes it so hard for me to articulate, is that on one hand, insomnia comes from attention. The more we try to problem solve and focus on it, the more struggle we have often. But then we also don't want to ignore it, because ignoring means like we just bury our heads in the sand and pretend it's not happening. So I think seeing things clearly, being willing to see things clearly, and not trying to resist anything, that always helps. So Jocelyn, I hope this made sense. If not, just send us another question, or leave a comment on any video, and then we'll be back. So yeah, finally here, going back to you, Brittany, and your journey. So you put out a little content on Instagram, and you're planning to do more of that, or what are sort of your next steps in your coaching journey?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm continuing to put out content, working on building a website as well, so people can find me there. Yeah, and if you need any coaching, just you could shoot me an Instagram, or just any questions. I'm happy just to answer questions as well. But yeah, I'm just slowly working to grow, and to help people.
Wonderful. All right. Was that your cat?
My cat wants to talk. He apparently has something to say about sleep too.
Exactly. It sounded like it. Well, super nice having you here, Brittany, and we'll do this soon again. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye now.